One of the benefits of President Biden being the president is that we don't have to argue about whether or not he can drive. I'm actually kind of glad that you did not become president. The presidency opens a lot of those, let's call them those Puff Daddy doors, where you're just like, shit's about to go wild here. Do you want to see Mitch McConnell's whale tail? You'd be like, well, his pants are sagging. Is America too dumb for democracy?
Outrageous.
With the 2024 election just months away, the Dems are in big trouble. And it's prompted some tough questions from voters, like, how old is too old to be president? How dumb is too dumb to be a democracy? And how the fuck are members of Congress still allowed to trade stock? I thought the best person to answer these tough questions would be someone who ran for president, is relatively old, and isn't dumb or corrupt. I'm talking about Senator Elizabeth Warren. Back in April, I sat down with Senator Warren at her beautiful home in Cambridge, Massachusetts, to speak with her about the current moment we're living through, meet her dog, and drop a deuce in her downstairs bathroom.
Senator Warren, thank you so much for having us.
So happy to be here.
Here in your wonderful sunroom. Senator Warren, are you familiar with House of Highlights?
No.
Okay, so House of Highlights is like an Instagram account that is dedicated to like NBA highlights of my favorite NBA players, crossing people up, just yakking on people. Senator Warren, I see you as an intellectual athlete. Especially when you are cooking people in those Senate hearings, when you're just dunking on bankers and putting your nuts in the mouth of Equifax and Wells Fargo. You are going ham. So we put together a little highlight reel of you yakking on all these bankers and other politicians. Why don't you give it a look?
All right. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg. It's gutless leadership. Did you have your eyes stitched closed? How many billions of dollars do you have to launder for drug lords before somebody says, we're shutting you down? Let me just stop you right there, Mr. Secretary.
You're not letting me finish.
Yeah, I'm not. But, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for. They all deserve it.
When you are roasting that ass, what is the pregame ritual? Are you taking HGH, Deca, sauce, or are you just doing that all natty?
I'm just doing it all natty.
Really?
Yeah, totally. I don't even do coffee.
No caffeine?
I don't do coffee.
So it's just the thrill of taking down late-stage capitalism?
Because it deserves it. Those guys deserved every bit of what they got and more. I look at that and just think, gee, I wonder if there's anything more I could have done to him. Like picked him back up and hit him again. Because these are the guys who have figured out how to not just get rich. Fine, want to get rich, but how to get so rich and to do it by cheating other people. You do it by inventing something great. Good for you. You do it by figuring out a more efficient way to run something. Good for you. You have some innovation nobody had. Good for you. But you get rich by opening fake accounts for customers and then ruining their credit rating so you could make a few more bucks. By damn, you deserve everything I give them and more.
Let's zoom out.
Okay.
We are in the midst of the 2024 election cycle. We have begun. Here's why we drove up to Massachusetts to sit down with you today, Senator Warren. All of the smartest people I know are Elizabeth Warren stans, okay? It's usually kind of like an NPR tote bag, granola eating, Lisa Simpson type character, okay? And it makes sense that you are the senator from Massachusetts. It's the most educated state in the country. But America is not Massachusetts. America is Tampa. My question to you is America too dumb for democracy?
Outrageous. No, it is not.
Senator Warren.
No, it is not.
12 million more people voted for Trump in 2020 than voted for him in 2016.
I understand that. I can't explain it, but I understand that. But
Senator Warren, when you're kicking back a few Michelob Ultras, which I know is your favorite beer.
Yes, it is.
You have to be doom scrolling and being like, fuck, these people are fucking morons.
Absolutely not. So let me put it this way. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get down to a sharper contrast. Who is Donald Trump and who is Joe Biden? And for the first time in like forever, we have two people running for president, both of whom have been president for a period of time.
Sure.
So we don't have to listen to their airy promises. We can actually see what they did. So Donald Trump, president for 4 years, and he accomplished two things. One is that he got an extremist Supreme Court that has overturned Roe versus Wade, and now 20 states in America have largely banned access to abortion. It's moving into IVF. Terrible, terrible. And the second thing he did is he got through a giant tax break that was mostly sucked up by millionaires, billionaires, and giant corporations. So that's what he's going to have to stand on. However many fireworks he wants to throw off or how much smoke and mirrors, those are the two things he stood for. Joe Biden has been president for 3 years, a little over. And what has he gotten done during that period? It's things that touch people. So we're now at $35 insulin. You know anybody who has diabetes?
Both my
Seniors
parents.
now,
Yep.
there you go. Seniors have access to $35 insulin, don't have to pay more. He's canceled student loan debt for 4 million Americans, and it's adding up more and more. Tens of thousands every month are getting their student loan debt canceled. Biggest infrastructure package in history.
So Senator Warren, what you're talking about is governance.
Yes.
And believe it or not, you and I, we're totally in agreement on so many things politically. You and I probably have a similar vision for what we want in terms of domestic policy, student loan debt, climate change, a ceasefire, foreign policy. We're pretty much in alignment in all of those things.
Good. But
the difference where there is a huge frustration with young progressives is in messaging. And Senator Warren, this is what I think. I think America is too dumb for democracy, but smart enough for wrestling. Wrestling and politics is all about messaging. What you talked about there is all valid, but the frustration has been messaging. Every character that's in wrestling has a catchphrase. And as you know, DJT has incredible catchphrases. Build the wall. Stop the steal. China virus. Democrats are horrible at catchphrases. They're the equivalent of WWF's Dean Douglas. Do you know who Dean Douglas is? So this was Dean Douglas. He would walk around with the green paddle, and as a character, he lasted for a measly 2 years in the WWF. He was the policy wonk of wrestling. His catchphrase was,
"Class dismissed."
Here's my question for the Democratic Party. What is Biden's catchphrase for 2024?
I care. Come on.
About what though?
But he does.
You need a noun at the end to build the wall. On his website, it just says finish the job. But what's the job? Because I've left public restrooms and I'm like, I just finished the job.
So here's the deal. We may not be the best at messaging. And I don't pretend to be one of the people who comes up with the cute catchphrase.
Yeah.
But it really is the case. This stuff touches people's lives.
Oh, 100%.
But I want to push back on this. I understand catchphrases matter. But half of America has lost access to a constitutional right to have access to abortion. It's been taken away from them. And here's the deal. Somewhere around 70% of America still wants that right. And when people start to organize, they actually make something happen. So about a year and a half ago, Kansas, the state legislature says, no, this is it. We're going to ban abortion. Nobody's going to get abortion. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
And people in Kansas get together and they say, wait, we don't have to put up with this. They didn't have a catchphrase. They didn't have anything except each other. Right. But they cared about an issue. They cared about governance. And ultimately, that's how democracy has to work. It has to be about the function, not the show.
I think it's both. I
All
really
right.
do think it's both. And let me give you an example.
Okay.
Infrastructure bill.
I know.
Trump would go in and he'd hit that stage and he'd be like, these potholes, fuck the potholes, and be like, I fucking hate these potholes. And it should have been just, he would run the bill and he'd just call it fill the holes. And you'd be like, yeah, we should fill these potholes. When it comes to any piece of legislation, I would argue in the digital age, messaging is actually more important than governing. What people think you do is actually more important than what you actually do. 10 years ago, Donald J. Trump came down the escalator doing the prom wave, right? And he just descended from hell. Why, after 10 years, have the Democrats been unable to out-message Donald J. Trump?
We do substance, he does message. And I get it. Message is important. If you're going to ask me to argue with you about it, I'm not.
Okay.
I think that message is important. But I got to say this.
Sure.
Help us message better.
Great.
Then. Help
Can I
us
pitch?
do better. Absolutely.
I'm gonna pitch.
I'm
Okay.
here. I'm
All right.
ready. I'm ready.
Great, because I came prepped.
Okay.
Let me give you a messaging example that hits close
Okay.
to home. So you are promoting the new IRS free file
I am.
website, directfile.gov,
Directfile.gov.
being piloted in 12 states.
Right.
Okay.
This is where people can go
Yes.
to file their taxes directly with the government. They don't have to spend 9 hours and 150
$50.
bucks
Yep.
like most people do across the country to pay TurboTax. Instead, they can do this directly with the federal government. Federal government works for you.
Love that.
Good.
Small problem.
Okay.
Senator Warren.
Yes.
Even direct file sounds confusing. Let me just give you some pitches
Okay.
for better URLs
Okay.
that are way better than directfile.gov.
Okay. Directfile.gov, where anybody could go right now to
Anybody
see
can go
if
right
you're
now.
eligible and
Yeah.
file.
And file for
Save
free.
your money. Don't pay TurboTax.
Do not pay TurboTax.
Okay.
Anybody watching this, do not pay TurboTax. You can go to directfile.gov. Yeah. I file at IRS.gov. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is the messaging failure. Let's get right to it. These are
Okay.
4 pitches. You give me a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay.
I work for your staff. I'm trying to make it work for the American people.
Okay. I'm ready.
I always do my taxes at the last minute. I'm so sorry, Professor Warren, but how about we go with, oh fuck, I gotta do my taxes.irs.gov.
Not
Thumbs up,
quite.
thumbs down.
Not
Okay.
quite.
Okay, how about this one for the cheapskates? Hey, I bootlegged turbotax.gov.
I think we still need to work on that. I don't think we can do that.
Okay, how about abbottelementary.gov?
Oh,
Everybody loves that shit.
yeah.
Like, people love
Okay.
Abbott Elementary. All right, I'm telling you this next one is
Okay.
really gonna win
I'm gonna
over
be ready.
the youth vote. Ceasefire.gov.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
And not temporary humanitarian aid,
I hear you, I hear you, I
pause.gov.
hear
I'm
you,
talking.
I hear you.
Is it, no, for real this time, ceasefire.gov.
Yeah.
You'll win Michigan with that.
There we go.
Do you know what a thirst trap is? Okay, so a thirst trap is when you're at home, sometimes you're laying in bed, and instead of like leaning over and kissing your beloved, you're scrolling through the Instagram Discover page. And then I'll see Anil Kapoor's Instagram, and he'll be shirtless. And he'll be like, look at my body transformation, click here to see more. And I'll be like, okay, I'll see more. And then it'll take me to his OnlyFans page, and then I'll be like, all right, $50 a month, I get to see more exclusive content. I think for directfile.gov, the government should have governmental thirst traps on your Instagram page, on other senatorial Instagram pages. So you might be lying in bed and it'll be like, hey, do you want to see Chuck Grassley in a wet tank top pull a cork out of a wine bottle? And you'll be like, well, I haven't seen that. And then you click on that, and then it takes you to directfile.gov, and you're like, well, my pants are down, and I got to do my taxes.
Yeah. It's a thought. It's a thought.
Yeah, it'll just be, do you want to see Mitt Romney hold a plank for a whole minute? I'd be like, that'd be kind of
I
hot.
want to do that.
Do you want to see Mitch McConnell's whale tail? You'd be like, well, his pants are sagging. And then now I'm in. I'm not.
I hear you.
There
I
is
hear you.
never underestimate the moral depravity and ratchetry of the American public.
But the key is people understand directfile.irs.gov. Data
And you will
is
save
secure.
money.
You will save money. And you know what? That's a good thing. And think what you can do with the money you saved.
You can go to Anil Kapoor's OnlyFans.
There you go.
It's only $50 a month for exclusive content.
There you go. Going to directfile.irs.gov, would give you at least 2.5 months.
Okay. Let's pivot away from messaging. Let's talk about what millennial voters and Gen Z voters can look forward to.
Okay.
One of the things that I think is the most amazing part of your career, you have clearly defined what too rich is in this country. You identified the billionaire class. What is too old? What is the billionaire class for age when it comes to the age of our politicians and members of Congress and Senate?
So I think there is a too old,
Okay.
but I don't think it's measured in age. I mean, years.
Yeah.
I think it's measured in, do I think that laws and government should be all about protecting those who've already got it? Or it should be, we made it, but you got to put a big chunk into investing in the future so that the next person who comes along can make it, and the next person and the next person. And to me, when I sit in the Senate, that's where I see the division.
It is about merit and it's about mental acuity. Not all 75s are created equal.
Yep.
I'm 38.
Hey, not all 25s are created equal.
Bingo.
Yep.
You're 74. You are sharp as a tack. You're acute. You can yak on mofos in these Senate hearings. It's all there. My dad is 72 and can't plug in a router.
Oh, now come on.
Furthermore, I'm 38 and I have the mental acuity of a 10-year-old. I don't know the difference between a W-2 and a W-9. I don't know how many dependents to even list when I file my taxes. I see it as an emotional dependent thing. So I'll just go 9 to 10, even though that's not true. Let's talk about the mental acute 74-year-olds. There's you, okay? There's Martin Scorsese.
He's good.
That's it.
Now, come on.
Senator Warren, Chuck Grassley's 90 years old. I think if you stay in the Senate or the House after, let's say age 70, your age should be the percent that you pay in income tax. So Chuck Grassley's 90%. He should pay a 90% federal income tax.
Did you know actually there was a time in America back in the 1950s and 60s where the marginal tax rate was 90% on millionaires? Did you know that?
There was also something you said about like the 70s, the 80s.
Yeah.
It was also, during Reagan, it was at something
Yeah,
70s, 80%.
much higher. That's right. That's right. Yeah, there's been a race to how much can we give away to the people who are already rich.
I'll give you this.
Okay.
One of the benefits of President Biden being the president is that we don't have to argue about whether or not he can drive. We don't have to fight with him over the driver's license. No one has to go let me drive home. This is, if I saw him driving, I'd call the cops.
Now look, I know you want to have fun here, but I just got to tell you this. I talked to the man,
Okay.
and the man is sharp. The man knows what he's talking about. He does the job. I think people ask about age, they've got every right. Look, voters can ask about anything they want. They can make any decisions based on anything they want. That's
Right.
the deal. It's a sharpness and a pointedness about what he is trying to accomplish. And to me, I get it. It's like messaging. You can have other issues you want to look at, but the heart of it is, what does he deliver? And he is delivering. He's delivering for young people. He's delivering for people who are trying to build a future. And he's doing it in a real and tangible way. And I think that matters. And that's why I'll get out there and fight for him.
Congress is now more representative of the public. What I mean by that, there's more women than ever that have now taken positions in government. There are more minorities in the House and the Senate than ever before.
Never before.
Should that be reflected in age as well? The median age of this country is 39. Some of our members of government are over double my age. I mean, I think Chuck Grassley's kids have probably retired at this point. He's not even legislating at this point. He's haunting.
So I think you are right that we do need a diversity of perspectives,
Yeah.
and that includes age.
And
it's-
I want folks my age to actually think you can go into government
Exactly
versus getting a job at Goldman or
But
versus getting banking
you've got
or
it
consulting.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
that really is the point. You can come in now, you can come in young. Look at Maxwell Frost, right? People who have just come in, who are very young. We're bringing people into the Senate now who are still in their 30s, right?
Yeah.
Starting this process through. But that's the thing. It doesn't happen if you don't come and do it. So I'm excited to be able to support people who are young. Our mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, was my student,
Right.
and she is in her 30s. And she is running and doing a fabulous job running one of America's premier cities. We can spot those places. There aren't as many as there should be, but the only way there'll be more is if people get out and say, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to throw my feet in there and I'm going to make it happen.
Okay. Let's talk about congressional stock ownership.
Okay.
Okay. You have been very passionate about punishing financial crimes. I mean, we had the dunk montage that we just saw. How do you feel? This is just a feeling question. When you see a colleague like Bob Menendez out here collecting rubies, gold coins, like he's a freaking pirate, how do you feel about this? Or when members of Congress are making more from stock trading than they are from their government salary?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel betrayed.
Okay.
I feel like there is a difference between public service, which means you just don't do that, and people who want to get out and maximize their wealth. Okay, fine. You want to take a job where you can get paid huge amounts of money, that's fine, but that is not public service. You make the decision that you are in one place or the other. It's not a vow of poverty. Senators get paid well, representatives get paid well. Some people do it after they've had careers, after they've saved money. But at the end of the day, if you want to be in public service, in my view, you don't buy stock, you don't sell stock, you don't own stock, you don't take side gigs. We're done. You live on that salary, and that's what you get, period.
So you don't hold any private stock?
Nope. Nope.
No Feng, no Netflix, no Apple,
Nope.
no Google?
I have some money in an index fund, a mutual fund, which means you can't affect it. Not, yeah,
Vanguard.
exactly. I'm done.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm done.
Got it. And by the way, just to give you credit, you co-sponsored the bipartisan ban on congressional stock ownership.
And I was just going to say it ought to be the law. It's not just a question of, oh, I want to be more moral than everyone else. No, I want that to be the law.
You know, when I read that act, by the way, I was like, ban on congressional stock ownership act. Like, that's almost like ban on owning exotic animals act. You're like, how is this even allowed?
How is this even a thing? That is exactly the right question. How is it even allowed that someone can sit on a committee in Congress, get inside information, and go trade stocks?
So what's it like battling your own team on this issue?
It's tough, but you don't get what you don't fight for. And my view on this one is we need to do this. And if there are Democrats who are opposed to it, it doesn't change the fact that we still need to do it. There are Republicans, I want to say on this one, I've had some bipartisan success. There are some Republicans who are in favor of doing this, but the answer should be the same rule for all of us. No stock trading, no stock buying, no stock selling. If you want to have some money in the stock market, put it in an index fund where you can have no influence over it, and we're done.
As we turn the corner here, I want to end with a philosophical question.
Okay.
Because you're also, as I know, you're a spiritual person. I'm a spiritual person. I do believe in God. I try to be the best person I could possibly be. I want to see the pearly gates. There are many ways to climb up that mountain. But one of the things I thought deeply about is, and I want to say it to you, I'm actually kind of glad that you did not become president. Because I don't know how President Elizabeth Warren could have been able to stay Elizabeth Warren. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if the president can be a good person. Wanting to be president means you have to be willing to deport people, assassinate people, fund military juntas, overthrow governments. You have to be cool with dropping a nuclear weapon on a civilian population if it comes to that. How can a progressive president keep their heart pure when they have to wield the threat of force? Because I believe the paradox of the presidency is, how do you scale empathy?
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
And I take it seriously.
And by the way, there's no right or wrong.
I know.
It really is a philosophical question.
And I take it seriously even in the more limited role as a senator, because it's a position of responsibility. I have to vote more than once on bills that have mashed things together, that have things in it I hate and things in it I love. And how do you vote? Do you vote against the things you hate, or do you vote in favor of the things you love? Because they're going to move together. You're either going to get both or you're going to get none. So this same conflict is there all the time. And
it's the scale of it, though, Senator. I'll give you an example. Just with my own Indian wedding, and you know this.
oh,
Okay? With my wedding, I had to cut people out. I had to be pro-Muslim ban. There was a lot of stuff I had to do to accomplish the Bina and Hasan wedding. And I felt like shit when I had to do it. Now scale that for a country of 300 plus million people. It's gonna get ugly.
yeah, but listen to your last line. You talked about what you did, and notice how you ended it. You said, and it felt like shit.
Yeah.
At least that means there's a moral center in there somewhere where you knew the difference. And I feel better when I know that someone is making decisions that, even if they're hard and I don't agree with every part of them and there's some really awful pieces to it, I want somebody who, at their heart,
Won't go there.
really feels, won't go there.
It's interesting because as you climb that mountain, I feel like show business and politics is the same thing. You keep climbing. But you get to that part of the mountain and you're like, Puffy's here. And I'm not going to go to the room with him. You get to that point. The presidency opens a lot of those, let's call them those Puff Daddy doors, where you're just like, shit's about to go wild here.
Yeah.
Every president in my lifetime goes into office a sociopath and then leaves a war criminal. And then on the back end of it, they just end up painting or podcasting. So what's the benefit to your soul, to your soul? Because we get one ride, we get one merry-go-round.
Yeah, but the merry-go-round has got to be that you did your best. Listen,
I'm sorry, there's no right answer. There's no right answer.
When the question became, would I run for the Senate? I didn't have any ambition to be in politics. But I asked myself the question, the one that actually put it to me right at the end. Remember, I'd been in Washington. I'd set up the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau for President Obama. I come back, I'm going back to teaching, and people say, oh, you should run for Senate against this Republican who had the seat, who was very popular. And the question I asked myself is, how would I feel if I didn't try? And not trying is not okay. If you think the fight is important, you don't get to back up and say, you know what? It could cost me a lot to do this. I could make a lot of mistakes. I could get things wrong. I could have a lot of painful moments in this. But damn, there are some things you have to say, I'm just going to try anyway. And I think that's what happens in elected office.
So you're built for the smoke.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm really not. Let's end with something fun.
Okay.
Senator Warren, your reputation as an enforcer wasn't just in the Senate. It started way back at Harvard. You have a reputation of being a hard-nosed professor. If someone did not come correct when they came to class, you were like J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Right.
You would roast them. You were a professor of bankruptcy law.
That's right.
Okay. So you remind me a little bit of this teacher that we had at Davis High. Her name was Mrs. Moldenhauer. She taught Calculus BC.
Whoa.
Yeah. So she was a super tough teacher, and if you were in her class, kids would wear these t-shirts that say, I survived Moldy. And I'm gonna see if you really are the Mrs. Moldy of bankruptcy law.
Okay.
So this is a bankruptcy law quiz. Question 1.
All right.
Which courts handle bankruptcy cases? State courts or federal courts?
Federal courts.
That is correct. Here's a question I got wrong on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Okay.
Now, for context, this brought tremendous shame to me and my family.
What would you like to wager with your father watching?
Let's go 7,000.
Okay, a true daily double. Wow. Here's your clue.
A chapter no one ever wants to read. This one is often called a reorganization bankruptcy, like JCPenney in 2020.
Chapter 11.
Ah, you didn't say it as a question. You did not say the question, Senator
Chapter
Warren.
11 is what?
No, it's what is Chapter 11,
What is
Senator
Chapter
Warren?
11? What is Chapter 11?
That was the Daily Double. I bet everything.
Oh, God.
So you just went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Did I say, did
No,
you go
I
Chapter
did.
11 or
I
just
did.
Chapter 7? Did you have to liquidate or was that Chapter 11?
Chapter 7 would be liquidation. Chapter 11, you get to reorganize.
Okay. So you just got Chapter 7.
I did. I did. I wiped out.
This hypothetical Jeopardy question. All right. If you were my professor, what grade would you give me for this interview?
Well, I would say there was creativity shown.
Yes.
A little concern about some of the details that were not in the material that was covered in the course. But I think right there at the end, you pulled it out with an A.
Great.
You bet.
Great. Senator Warren, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed my conversation with Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now remember, go to directfile.irs.gov to file your taxes for free. And to be clear, Anil Kapoor does not have an OnlyFans page, but he should. Wow, only 67? Until next time, I'm Hasan Minhaj, and I doesn't know.